Probability means what? See, in any situation, let's do not discuss the probability definition like a straight which is printed on the textbook. Let's see that. See, we have some alternatives for any problem. We were given some situation, we have developed some statements out of that. That means we are having some alternatives. Course of actions are there in front of us. Selecting one out of many is called as probability. That is how I define. See, let us suppose we once you think of probability, the first thing that which comes onto your mind is what are tossing of a coin, throwing a dice, or picking one card out of 52 cards. So like this. That means, see, selecting one number out of six outcomes. That means, see, you're of 60 people are there. Your 60 people are there. Selecting one out of 60 people. You're simply we will be saying that 1 by 60 is our probability. That means the probability of selection of each and every person is equal over here. That is called as 1 by 60. What is this 1 by 60? What is the formula of probability? And what do you mean by probability? Let us see all these things. See, selecting one out of many alternatives. That means, see, a die is having six faces. A die is having six faces, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I said that I want the number 4. Once I throw the die, I want the number 4 on the top. That means you want only one out of 6. So the probability of getting that 4 is how much? 1 by 6, because the probability of getting each and every face is 1 by 6. I'll let you know once we are again, I'll move on to the topic of dice. I'll explain you how did we get 1 by 6. Okay. So that means since 6 outcomes are there, our denominator is 6. Let us suppose we are tossing a coin. So how many faces a coin is having? 2 cases. So the denominator will be 2. If I want to select one person out of 60 people, see 60 is my total population. So 60 will be my denominator. So what are the considerations that you are making? Whether you are considering a die, coin, cards, people, things, whatever it might be, the total number of things will be always our denominator. Okay. And whatever you are expecting out of these many, let us suppose I wanted to select a CR from this class. That means he will be our numerator. I want to select a lady out of the class. That means total number of girls will be my numerator. Okay, but denominator will be always constant. That means total number of outcomes of an experiment is called always a denominator. Okay, so now, so what are the topics that we are going to discuss in this chapter is basics of probability. We'll be seeing some definitions of probability and some basic problems on probability, followed by theorems. We have three theorems: addition, multiplication, and Bayes theorems. Based on the situation, we will come to know what type of theorems we are going to use when these theorems are being applicable. After that, we have a concept of random variables, and there is of two kinds of things: discrete random variable and continuous random variable. Here we'll be seeing the problems on conditional probability, marginal probability problems. After that, followed by the last topic is distribution. So when a problem is followed one type of distribution. See, we have three types of distributions. One, actually it is of two types. That one is again discrete distribution, and the next one is continuous distribution. Under discrete distribution, we have binomial and Poisson distributions. Under continuous distribution, we have normal distribution. So these are all the topics that we are going to discuss. See, it might look very simple of 4 lines, but the things what we are going to learn will be very huge. Okay, so wherever you are going to be implementing, see, I wanted to find out something. See, I wanted to do some research. After doing research, I have to be what do we say, that confident that my answer is correct. If someone is asking you how much confident are you on yourself, that means I'm 95% confident, sir. 95% means what? 95 out of 100, 95 by 100. That's a probability. The remaining 5% I may not be sure, sir. I might be wrong. Or sometimes we say that 99.99% we are right. That means 0.01% we may not be true there. So that is 99.99 is again a probability. A fraction is always called a probability, or a decimal value is always called as a probability. Now, so the simple basic things what we consider in solving the probability problems is, first thing is tossing of a coin, next throwing of dice, and next third case is picking up cards. Or if there are some more like problems on balls, there are different kinds of bags are there in which we have the 4 or 5 different colors of balls, picking up one colored ball out of many from a particular bag. So those kind of problems will be existing in this level, in basic level what we are going to be discussed. And the basic formula of probability is number of favorable outcomes by total number of all possible outcomes. Number of all possible outcomes. I'll explain you what are these things now. And people always tend to say that the total probability, that means the range of the probability always lies between 0 to 1. That means either the probability answer will be 0 or maximum it is 100. 100, when do we get 100? See, if I wanted to select 60 people out of 60, 60 divided by 60 becomes how much, man? It's equal to 1. And I don't want to select any student in the class. So 0 by 60, the value is 0. That means the least value in the probability always 0 and the highest value is always 1. And the probability answer will never be a negative answer. And it will not be greater than 1 also. Once if you are getting the answer like 1.1 or 1.5 or 2.3, sir, it is a decimal value, we said that it is a probability, right? No, that's wrong. Always our probability should lies between 0 to 1. That means the fractions of 1 by 2, 2 by 3, always the denominator should be greater than the numerator. Then only our answer is correct. Like 0 0.5, 0 0.25, 0 0.75, 3 by 4, 1 by 2, 1 by 4, what all the values we are getting, those answers are pertaining to our probability answers. Okay. Before starting off these problems, let us discuss some basic definitions. What are those concepts? See, to solve these problems, what the numerator is, what the denominator is, how we are going to select those values, and how many different kind of situations that we face in probability in solving the problem. What category of problems we have? Let us see them. Then let's move on to the actual problem. Now, these are the simple formulas you have already have learned in your schooling or in your intermediate. If you're from BSc background, that means the simple permutations and combinations formula is NCK is equal to n factorial by k factorial into n minus k factorial. Simply you might be using the formula like NCR. NCR is equal to n factorial by n minus r factorial into r factorial. That is combinations. Permutations means NPK is equal to n factorial by n minus k factorial. See the difference between these two. Combinations we have k factorial also, but in permutations we do not have k factorial. Again, I'll explain the concept of those problems. Okay, now the basic definitions of probability. There are three different kind of definitions, that is classical definition, empirical definition, and axiomatic definition. I'm not much concerned about the textbook definitions. So whatever we are expecting, if we are getting that, that is called as probability according to me. The chance of getting an event, I am expecting an even number out of a die, I am expecting a head out of a coin, that is called as probability. The chance of getting an event is called probability. The basic formula of probability is favorable number of cases by total number of exhaustive cases. Now let us see what do you mean by favorable number of cases and what is exhaustive cases. Before that, let us see the basic definitions, which is called as random experiment. First, what is called as experiment? See, I have a coin in my hand, I am tossing that. That is called as an experiment. I am having some liquids in front of me, I am combining them. That is called as an experiment. Whatever the new thing that you are doing to find out the outcome, you are cooking the food, that means you are doing an experiment. The result is our answer. Whether you have cooked in a good way or bad way, two outcomes, success, failure. 1 by 2 is our chances, 50-50 chances. Okay, so now what do you mean by a random experiment? See, already I told you what is an experiment. Experiment means doing something, performing something is called as an experiment. Now if you are doing the same experiment continuously, that means if you are doing it repeatedly under essentially homogeneous conditions. Homogeneous conditions means what? Let us take an example of, I have a coin. I wanted to toss it for 5 times. I wanted to toss it for 5 times. First time I've tossed it, I got the answer as head. Second time again I'm tossing it. So is there any rule that first time I got head, second time also I should get head? No rule. Or since I get head for the first time, is there any rule that I need to get a tail for the second time? No rule. That means the first one and second one, you are tossing the coin as similar to the first one, but you are not expecting the outcome. You don't know what exactly the outcome is. You are performing the same task under essentially homogeneous conditions. Homogeneous conditions means however you are tossing for the first time, second time also you have to toss the same way. There should not be differences between the first time and the second time or this fifth time or whatever you are doing. But you are tossing a coin, you know whatever the outcome you might get. I might get head or a tail, but 100% you cannot say that you are going to get head or a tail. That is called as a random experiment. Next, trial and event. What do you mean by trial and event? Performing a random experiment is called a trial, and outcome of that particular trial is called as an event. Now, tossing of a coin is a trial, getting head or tail is an event, throwing a die is a trial, and getting number on it, that means either an even number, an odd number, or a 6 number or a 5 number on that one is called as an event. That means outcome of an experiment is called as an event. Performing an experiment is called a trial. Now, exhaustive cases. Exhaustive means the total number of possible outcomes of a random experiment is called as exhaustive cases. Now, let us see this. Now, coin. If I am tossing a one coin, how many outcomes are there? There are only two outcomes, head and a tail. That means what do you write here is equal to 2. So, total number of exhaustive cases when a coin is tossed is 2. And when two coins are tossed, what is the outcome that we get here? See, two coins are having two heads and two tails. Now, what are the combination of outcomes that we may get over here? We may get both heads at a time, or otherwise first coin head and second coin tail, or it can be reversed, first coin tail and second coin head, and the last one is both are tails itself. So how many outcomes do we have here? We have 4 outcomes. That means when two coins are tossed, we have 4 outcomes over here. Similarly, when 3 coins are tossed, what is our next outcome? See, that how do we multiply 3 sets over here? Let us multiply first 2 sets. Already I have done here. Let me copy down the same thing. So first 2 into again third one. See, I have multiplied these two. I got this answer and multiplied with the third one. What would be the answer? So see, the result is again we get now all these with the combination of head, first one. So that is we may get head, 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 comma, next head, tail, head, comma, next tail, head, head, comma, next tail, tail, head. I have done with, that means I am multiplying this head with these outcomes. So I got something. Now multiplying with tail, that means I'll get both heads with a tail, next head, tail, tail, comma, next tail, head, tail, comma, all 3 tails. So now let us count this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That means is equal to 8. So what is the pattern that we are getting out of this one? These are all called as total number of exhaustive cases. See, the values which are there in the brackets are called as sample space. Those are called as sample space. And the value which is defining this outcome is called as total number of exhaustive cases. So now see here, 2 can be written as 2 power 1. Yes. Similarly, 4 can be written as 2 square, and here 8 can be written as 2 cube. That means if 2 coins are tossed, the total number of exhaustive events is 2 square. If 3 coins are tossed, total number of exhaustive cases is 2 cube. Similarly, when n coins are tossed, the total number of outcomes of a random experiment is how much here? 2 power n. Total number of exhaustive cases is 2 power n. It is for the case of coin. Now, let's see it for a die. Now, when a die is rolled out, how many faces do we have? We have 6 faces. So, what is the outcome which is called as 6? Now, when 2 dice are rolled, how many number of combination of outcomes do we get? See, this is the outcome. When 2 dice are rolled, let me take out the answer of 2 dice. Let me consider one die as a red color die and the second one as white colored die or a black colored die, whatever it might be. See now, red die is having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 faces, and white die is also going to have the 6 faces. Now, how many number of possible outcomes I may get? If I am throwing a die, I may get both 1 and 1 on each die, or 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6. Similarly, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4. Likewise, I am having up to the concept of 6, 6. Now, each column is having 6, 6 values. 6 columns into 6 values. So, our outcome is how much here? When 2 dice are rolled, our answer is 36. Okay. So, that means again, here the answer would be when 1 die is rolled, the answer is 6 power 1. Now, when 2 dice are rolled, the answer is 6 square, that is 36. Similarly, when 3 dice are rolled out, the answer is 6 cube. And finally, when n dice are rolled, our answer is 6 power n. Total number of exhaustive outcomes is these values. And the number of outcomes which are there in the brackets are called as sample space. Am I clear? So, 1 die, 2 dice, 3 dice, and n dice. These are the total number of exhaustive cases. This is the denominator of any problem which is existing. Now, even we have a concept of playing cards also. I'll come at the end of the definitions. Now, that is called as exhaustive cases. Now, the number of outcomes of a random experiment which entail the happening of an event are termed as cases favorable to the event. Cases favorable to the event or favorable cases is called as our numerator in the formula of probability. Exhaustive cases means what? Total number of outcomes. I said when a coin is tossed, total number of outcomes are how many? 2. What are they? Head and tail. My favorable cases means what? While tossing a coin, I want only head. Now, how many chances of favorable cases you have to get headman? See here, how many chances you might get? Only 1. So that is called as favorable cases. Now, when 2 coins are tossed, again, I want 2 heads only. I don't want a combination of tails. I want only 2 heads. See in this combination, how many number of cases I'm getting 2 heads? I'm getting only 1. See, there are actually 4 outcomes are there, out of which how many outcomes are favoring me? Only 1 outcome is favoring me, because I'm expecting both should be head. Or the next case is, I'm saying that, okay, no problem, at least 1 should be head in the outcome. So now, out of these 4 outcomes, how many outcomes are favoring me? 3 outcomes, because first one is having head, second one is having head, and third one is also having head combination. So that is called as favorable number of cases. That means for any problem, first of all, if you write total number of exhaustive cases, that means our denominator, then finding out the numerator is very easy. Okay, when a problem is given, first identify total number of exhaustive cases. In that itself, you will be having favorable number of cases for your answer. So once you substitute in our formula, What is our formula here? Basic formula, number of favorable outcomes by number of all possible outcomes. Now, see this problem. I want out of this one, I'm asking a question. When two dice are rolled, what is the probability that both the faces are equal? Both the faces are equal. Now, first, what is the thing I need to write? First, I need to write all the possible outcomes, that is exhaustive cases. All these combinations is equal to 36 is our answer. So, 36 is our denominator. Out of 36, what is my favorable number of cases? I am asking a question that both the numbers should be same. Both the numbers should be same means how many such combinations are there? See, 1 comma 1 same number, 2 comma 2, 3 comma 3, 4 comma 4, 5 comma 5 and 6 comma 6. How many such combinations are there? 6 combinations are there. So our answer is how much here? 6 by 36 is our answer. So always favorable number of cases will be there existing in exhaustive cases. Once you have identified the problem, see, if a problem is given to us, there will be two things in probability. One is statement, second one is question. Statement will be always a denominator, question will be our numerator. Information, see, the statement means what? Two dice are rolled. Two dice are rolled means this is our outcome, right? So this is our denominator. Out of which, what is our question? The outcome should be, both the numbers should be same. See, that means how many combinations are there? 6 combinations. So 6 by 36 is our answer. So that is how you need to identify what is the problem given, how do we need to bring up our answer. Okay. So I think the concept of favorable cases and exhaustive cases are clear. Let us see only two more definitions and let's move on to the problems. Okay. Now, mutually exclusive events. Mutually exclusive events means what? Do not remember all these 3 to 4 lines of definition. Just try to identify what is the situation. See, now I am tossing a coin. I am tossing a coin. If in tossing a coin, head is appeared. Head appeared means what? It is stopping the happening of tail or not. Similarly, if a die is rolled out, the number 4 has appeared on the top. That means that 4 is stopping the remaining 5 values in the same die. So then those type of events are called as mutually exclusive. Exclusive means what? One or two events are said to be mutually exclusive if the happening of one of them excludes the happening of all others in the same experiment. Now, head is stopping the happening of tail. For suppose if tail is appearing, that means tail is stopping head. You'll be having only two outcomes, either success or failure. That means either you pass the examination or fail the examination. Clear? So now, that means if one event is stopping the other one. Now, see, let us suppose you're all getting into the classroom. You thought that you should be first entering into the classroom. That means what? You try to push away all the other fellows and you'll enter into the classroom as the first person. So that means you are excluding, you are stopping them to you come into the class as first member. That is called as mutually exclusive. Now, equally likely cases. Equally likely cases means what? Let us take the same example once again. Now, what is the probability of getting head? It is 1 by 2. Tail is also 1 by 2. That means both the probabilities are equal? Yes, of course. Now, if your 60 people are there, what is the probability of each and every person? 1 by 60, 1 by 60, 1 by 60. Every person is having the same probability. No other person is having more probability. That means 2 by 60, 3 by 60. No, every person is having the same probability. That means all the outcomes should have equal chance of probability. Then those cases are said to be likely cases. Now, the number on the die, 1 is having 1 by 6 probability, 2 is also having 1 by 6 probability, 4 is by 6. That means all the faces on the die are equally likely cases. At the same time, those are always called as mutually exclusive cases also. Okay. Now, the last definition is independent events. Independent event means what? Now, in my right hand, I'm having a coin. In my left hand, I'm having a die. Okay. Now, I'm tossing a coin. At the same time, I'm throwing a die. Is there any rule that if I get a tail on the coin, I need to get even number on the die? No, right? My happening of tail will not affect the die outcome. Die's outcome. Or let us take two coins at the same time. I'm coining two coins at a time. Now, first coin is getting head. Second coin, this first coin is not going to affect the second coin, or the first coin is not going to be affected by the second coin. That means events are said to be event of each other if happening of one of them is not affecting by and does not affect the any one of others. See, the first coin is getting head, but this head is not going to impact the second coin's outcome. Then those two events are said to be independent events. If you write immediate examples what I'm saying, then it will be very clear for you all to understand or to remember once again. Always definitions will be confusing once you read everything immediately. Okay, so see, simply basic, everyone tend to remember these concepts, so I've started with the same concept. Then we shall move on to the next concept. That means we have different type of problems and the probability. Now we have a clarity regarding the coin. That means total exhaustive cases means what here? For a coin, it is always 2 power n. The generalized formula, the exhaustive cases of a coin is 2 power n. If it is one coin, we'll get 2 power 1. If it is 5 coins, we get 2 power 5 as our exhaustive cases formula. Moving on to the die also, we get 6 power 1, 6 power 2 up to 6 power n. That is total number of exhaustive cases. Now, most of you guys might have seen the cards, but you do not have a clarity that what type of cards we have and what they are called as, and how do we shuffle them, and how do we pick up a card from themselves. Now, actually, a deck of cards, deck means 52. A pack of cards, again it is called as 52. Deck or pack is called always a 52 cards. Now, out of 52 cards, what sort of cards we have? There are two different colors of cards are there. One is black, the other one is red color. How many red colored cards are there? Out of 52, it is divided into two parts. That means 26 and 26. 26 red cards and 26 black cards. Now, again in red cards, there are two different type of symbols which are existing. One is hearts, second one is diamonds. So again 26 into two parts, 13 cards and 13 cards, 13 diamond cards and 13 heart cards. Similarly, black cards are also divided into, sorry, in this diagram, this picture was quite reverse. See, under black it was given as diamond and hearts, and under red it was given as club and spades. So it's quite reverse. Okay, this is black, instead of red we need to have black, and instead of black we need to have red cards. Okay, it's a simple confusing. Let us change that in the next session. Now, under black cards we have 13 clubs. It's a kind of a flower, and it's a spade cards are also, it's like kind of a leaf card. So leaf is called as a spade and flower is called as a club. And anyways, everyone is very clear about the heart shape and the diamond shapes. Now, we were speaking about that there are 13 cards are there in each category. Now, what are those 13 cards and what are they called as? A suit. Suit means 13. Deck means 52. Suit means 13. 52 means deck. Now, let us see what are those 13 cards now. 13 cards are starts from the on the cards. We usually see the number starting from 2 to 10. We never see the value like 1 on a card. The number starting from 2 to 10. There are 9 numbered cards. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 9 numbered cards and 4 alphabetical cards is denoted by as Ace, J, Jack, Q, Queen, K, King. It is very clear over here. See here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These are the numbers. J, Q, K, A, Jack, Queen, King, and Ace. This complete one colored and one type of diagram which is consisting is called as suit. Now, out of the given total number of cards, tell me how many number of aces we have? How many number of ace cards we have? We have one ace card in clubs, one in spade, one in diamond, one in heart. So how many ace cards we have? 4 ace. How many number of twos we have? We have 4. That means any number or any card is going to repeat it. That means any alphabet or any number is going to repeat only for 4 times. How many jacks are there in the 52 cards? Again 4. That means one club, one spade, one heart, and one diamond of jack cards. Now, how many heart cards are there? 13 cards are there. How many diamond cards are there? 13 are there. How many red cards do we have? 26. How many playing cards do we have? 52. So, we should not get confused over here. Before solving a problem, if even you get a problem in the examination, just draw this graph onto the rough side. That makes very easy for you to understand where to pick up the number and how to write the answer. So now total number of cards is 52 cards. So total number of exhaustive events of the playing cards is how much here? Always 52. Okay, denominator will be always 52 and the numerator is now total number. That means the probability of getting a red card. Red card means what? How many red cards we have? 26. Total number of cards are 52. 26 divided by 52, it is 50%. 1 by 2 is our answer. What is the probability of getting a spade card? Spades are how many? 13. 13 divided by total number of cards is 52. So 13 divided by 52. 1 by 4. Okay. What is the probability of getting an ace card? How many aces are there? 4 aces are there. And total number of cards are 52. So 4 divided by 52. Whatever the value we are asking, that will be our numerator. Okay, I am